Madden 19 was and is the worst Madden game ever released. Yes, Madden 20 and 21 were also pretty bad. Who knows what Madden 22 will bring, and yes, I did say Madden 13 and Madden 06 on the Xbox 360 were worse in my top 5 worst Madden games video. But my opinion has changed as time has gone on. You see, Madden 19 was simply nothing new, yet at the same time it was a huge regression. I had previously thought that Madden 13 was worse because 13 was the game that killed the series and set the future titles up with a terrible foundation. But at least gameplay wasn't the worst thing ever. It had a little bit of physics to it, and it was an improvement over Madden 12. Madden 06 on 360 was really bad, but honestly in my opinion, 19 takes the cake. This game was booty cheeks, or as the kids like to say, Madden 19 was kind of sus. It was not based. It's kind of funny how we have really heated debates on which Madden games are the worst. EA has released so many bad Madden games, and all of the Madden games from the past decade have been terrible. Perhaps you hate another Madden game more than 19, and that's fine. So even if you disagree with the title of this video, I think most of us can agree that Madden 19 was, at the very least, a bad game. This game actually had a significant impact on me personally. Let's go back to 2018. I didn't actually own a console. I had sold my PS4 to build a gaming PC. I hadn't really played any Madden games since 08, since EA had stopped making Madden PC ports. I was accustomed to 08, as well as ESPN NFL 2K5 and All Pro Football 2K8. Those were my games growing up. I saw that EA was planning to bring Madden 19 to the PC through Origin, and I actually got hyped. I started looking at screenshots, trailers, etc., and I was really excited. The graphics looked epic, and coming from Madden 08, I could barely even imagine what a modern Madden game would look like. The franchise mode must be 10 times better, create a team must be so much more in depth, superstar mode must be like NBA 2K My Career, but maybe even better, and the gameplay should blow 2K football games away, considering the latest one was over 10 years old at that point. I didn't actually buy the game, I instead got a 1-month subscription to a service called Origin Access Premier, which gave me the Hall of Fame edition. The Hall of Fame edition. There must be some crazy epic game modes in there full of stuff like Madden moments, historic teams and rosters, and more. When I booted up and started playing the game, let's just say I was underwhelmed. Not only was franchise mode incredibly bare bones to the point where it made Madden 08 look like Madden 35, there was nothing else to do in the game. There was no superstar or career mode, just a weird long-shot sequel with barely any gameplay. The actual gameplay was super weird, where players ran slow, everything felt so scripted, and I would see the same animations 400 times in a row. And the only thing going for the Hall of Fame edition was Ultimate Team packs. That game mode was new to me, so I checked it out, only to pretty easily see that it was a cash grab simply meant to mimic the freemium mobile game template in a $60 AAA game. This was the SOFTDRINKTV origin story. I had played an old-ass game my entire life up to this point. I was 18 at the time of Madden 19's release, and it turns out that game, Madden 08 on the Nintendo GameCube, was better than Madden 19 in every way. I was furious. I then started acquiring all the Madden games I missed out on, bought a PS4 game, went through each game, and realized a horrible truth. Starting with Madden 13, EA removed everything good about Madden games, and starting with Madden 18, gameplay was completely ruined. And somehow, Madden 19's gameplay was even worse. The craziest part was that I had actually been researching the game online. I was watching all of the Madden YouTubers. They were all hyping up Madden 19 to be this great game. I felt manipulated by the EA Game Changers. I had read reviews online. All the major publications called this the best Madden yet. I believe I was not alone in experiencing such a shock, at least I hope so. I felt completely ripped off, and knowing that EA had the exclusive NFL license, meaning no other company could compete or even make their own NFL game, I was angry. This was the biggest scam in video games I had ever seen, yet it got no attention. Ryan Moody and Angry Joe were literally the only significant YouTubers I could find talking about it. And to this day, They basically still are. It's kinda crazy. Despite me experiencing this, when I started making content, I was met by a lot of criticism from other YouTubers and streamers for being too negative. I started making videos myself, simply trying to show the world what I had discovered, and basically try and expose EA and help people make a better purchasing decision. And I was getting blocked on Twitter by Madden YouTubers. The ones I followed didn't follow me back, and I was looked at as an annoyance, and to this day, I still am. It's really kind of bizarre. So knowing all of that, you can see why I hate Madden 19. But at the same time, my hatred for the game and EA is what led to my channel kicking off, which is pretty cool. However, and some people may not believe me here, I would trade it all for a good NFL video game. I didn't start making videos to make money. I started making videos to see if anyone else out there could see what I was seeing. I felt like I was going crazy. This brand new, well-received, AAA $60 game was complete garbage. 10 times worse than one over 10 years older, and barely anyone was talking about it. So let's take a look at the game. Upon booting up Madden 19, you are met with a few game modes. If you played Madden 18, you'll notice that they are exactly the same. Nothing new is added to Madden 19. Long Shot was replaced with Long Shot Homecoming, and while Long Shot wasn't even good in 18, this made it look like a cinematic masterpiece. Not only was the story and acting awful in Madden 19's sequel, there was barely any interaction. It was mostly things like button mashing or pressing X when the game tells you to. There was barely any gameplay. It was a complete waste of time. Franchise mode was identical to Madden 18, except for some tiny cosmetic changes. The only significant improvement was the addition of user-created draft classes. The funny thing is, that feature had been in NBA 2K titles for years at that point, even since the last generation of consoles. And in older Madden games, you could import classes from your NCAA games, which technically was the same thing, just with some extra steps. The player upgrade system was simplified, and yeah, that was it. This is why I made that Fall of Madden video, showing everyone how many features used to be in Madden franchise mode that were now gone. There were a lot. There are still over 80. There was no career mode. In NBA 2K games, my career was huge. In Madden, you were out of luck. You could play franchise mode as a player, but you didn't get drafted or anything. You legit just picked a team and played for them. It was franchise mode with a player-locked camera. That's not a career mode, although at the time I got into some arguments with Madden defenders online claiming that it was actually better than 2K's My Career. There was Ultimate Team, a game mode that anyone with eyes would agree is a cash grab and not worth touching. Lastly, there was Exhibition, which included Play Now and Play Now Online. That was it. That was the game. Surely, if depth wasn't a consideration, gameplay must have been the primary focus, right? Well, it probably was, but EA did a terrible job with it. Real player motion, which eventually became more of a meme, was the main selling point for this game. Now players moved realistically, at least according to EA. What that really meant was that everything was super slowed down, as if you were running in mud. You couldn't even hold down sprint when running, you had to time it. The game was ruled by animations, and overall, I believe no one actually liked Madden 19's gameplay. Even the Madden streamers today who love to defend the game hated Madden 19's gameplay. It was slow enough where people who want an arcade-style game felt like it was too realistic, but it wasn't even close to being realistic, so nobody was happy. What I really noticed about the gameplay at the time was how restrictive it felt. If you ran a play against a certain defense, you'd get the exact same result over and over. There was no organic play development. For example, one of my friends ran a 2-play offense, depending on if the defense was in man or zone coverage, and would throw 14 touchdowns a game and broke the game's touchdown and reception counter, since it would stop counting after 255. As someone who played a ton of NFL 2K5 and All-Pro Football 2K8, this was annoying. In those games, you could run the same offensive play against the same defensive play over and over, and every play would have a different result. In Madden 19, and every Madden since, it felt like I could predict each play before the snap. As you come near a defender, you can already guess the exact tackle animation based on how he's facing you. If a strip animation starts, you can do nothing but watch for 3 seconds, knowing the entire time you were going to fumble. It got old really fast, because after playing a few games of Madden 19, you had already seen everything the game could do. This was a big surprise to me, coming from games from over 10 years ago that didn't have this problem. Player movement felt so off. It was as if EA was trying to cater the game towards the sim crowd, but didn't actually understand what the sim crowd wanted. Which was weird, because at the time, EA had the Game Changer program going and invited a ton of creators to their studio. But instead of taking any of their feedback seriously, it seems like they just used the platforms of these creators as a marketing tool. After realizing that, I told myself I would never be an EA Game Changer or do sponsored content for them. Of course, at the time I barely had any subscribers, so I doubt they would have been interested anyway. Well, the game definitely sounds underwhelming, right? But hey, at the very least, they could have made it stable, right? No, this game was a bug-ridden mess. The number of glitches in this game was actually mind-blowing. Look at this! What kind of AAA title can get away with all of this and get good critical reviews? And how come the few people that called it out were looked at as bad guys in the community? Now, that's not to say that you couldn't have any fun with the game. I did end up buying the game around Christmas time on sale for $20 after I had repurchased a PS4 so I could play something with my friends. By the way, to this day, I have never bought a Madden title at full price at launch. So the comments telling me to stop buying the game, they don't make any sense. This was before I had started my channel. My friends and I had some good memories playing franchise together, but that had nothing to do with the game. The memories mostly came from us playing together. We all knew the game was booty. And that brings me to an important point I've been wanting to make. If you enjoy a game, that's okay. If you actually like modern Madden games, good for you. I can only speak for myself, but I often see creators who don't like me, or random people online who mention me, throw me into this group of people who attack people who enjoy the game. I have literally never done that. I simply want a better game myself, and the only people I have an issue with are people trying to silence me or EA themselves. That is it. If you, the current viewer, actually kind of liked Madden 19 or 20 or 21, that's great. I envy you. I would love to be able to enjoy a modern NFL game. You don't need to feel bad or change your opinion or think I'm attacking you. And I wish this sentiment was implied and I didn't have to say it, but again, like I mentioned, me criticizing a billion-dollar company makes me the bad guy in the community. I'm sure Ryan Moody can relate to me right there. My point is that I personally think Madden 19 was a terrible game. It was a bare-bones, unplayable mess, just like the Madden games that followed it. While I do think Madden 21 was a step forward, and Madden 22 likely will be as well, the bar is so low that that really doesn't mean much. While Madden 19 may have been the low point, we are still in the low point. Sports video games are universally underwhelming today, and EA's are consistently the worst. This is not a good time to be a sports fan who likes video games, but at least you can go back and play older titles, right? And again, all of this is just my opinion, obviously. Stay tuned for lots of uploads this month. With Madden 22 dropping, not only will I review that game honestly, but I wanted to make some more videos on previous Madden titles and the history of the series. If that bothers you, feel free to suck my nuts. Thanks for watching.